आओ देखो हो गया फिर दौड़ होगी शुरू देखो कि मैं जा रहे हैं
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sanjeev Gupta, and I am Additional Chief Secretary IT. I and Kalsi ji have been going years together since we have been secretaries in Himachal and Punjab respectively, looking after IT. Since childhood, yes. Now we are old and both nearing retirement. I have been asked to play the role of a filler. And frankly, since there's no internet, what I had prepared, what I was really wanted to do was actually live thing. I mean, that's what actually matters. But then what I'll do is I'll explain to it conceptually, and possibly when the internet is available, I'll try and do a live presentation. Well, I have a dongle in the room because I thought there'll be Wi-Fi in the conference hall, but then there's no password right now. Actually, that it was something which is required to be shown live. Basically, I'll just plunge into it. I won't make two bones about it. How many of you think that you've really integrated various web portals, and how have you done it, and how have you given variety of delivery channels to the citizen? Can anybody just raise hand and say that in one portal, from the citizen's perspective, we have integrated XYZ number of services from different portals which operate separately as well? Okay, I'll give you a simple answer then. Today what is happening is, and I'll give the example of the agriculture sector, because very aptly Punjab has talked about agriculture to IT culture. So agriculture comes to the top of my mind, and where I spent 7 years doing IT and other things in Agriculture Ministry, Government of India, before I moved to Himachal. When I joined there, I found in Tambola, 88 is described as 2 fat ladies. I had 3 fat ladies there. 800, 80 and 8. What are these numbers? 800 approximately were the websites which were existing in agriculture sector and allied sectors. If we put together, and actually did the counting, state government, central government, ICR institutes, state universities, agriculture universities, 800 websites. There were 80 in agriculture ministry alone. Sorry, agriculture department alone, that is Department of Agriculture and Cooperation. And there are 8 departments dealing with these sectors. So we talked about Department of Agriculture Research and Education, Agriculture and Cooperation, Animal Husbandry, India Meteorological Department, Public Distribution, and so on and so forth. But there was none from the farmer's perspective, except one noble exception, which I keep talking about, and that was Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, which actually talked about farmers and farmers' needs. And I'm afraid to say that most websites, I won't say all, most of the websites, they are all about who the director of research is, how great the vice chancellor is, and so on and so forth. So from the citizen's perspective, when you talk about 800 odd websites that I picked up, we found about 100 plus which are giving unique sets of data. Idea was to just weave them together, have a look at it. I'll try and show if I get time subsequently. Is pharma.gov.in. There are about 100 plus portals integrated together in a unified manner, wherein you can drill down to the village, to the block, and get all the information related to that particular village or block. Ravi, will it be possible to book somebody to go to my room and get that 4G dongle? If the team doesn't come, I can probably. There's a 4G dongle lying in the pocket of my laptop. You need to take the key from the reception. I've lost, or maybe I have it. No, I have it. Sorry, 418. It's in my laptop. Okay. So those who can browse on phone can do it. So what I'm talking about, it's not about hyperlinks. It's about integrating data through web services so as to have unified and structured approach from the convenience of a farmer. Having done that, having said that, we have a grandiose portal accessed by thousands of people every day, but how many farmers can actually access? Even in a prosperous state like Punjab, what is internet penetration in the rural areas? And when I talk about internet penetration, I'm talking about 100 kbps plus, which is about 1/20th of what the revised definition of broadband of 2 Mbps is. Even 100 kbps is not available in most parts of the country. Then how do farmers access this? First is, whatever, in fact, I'll give you some data. Smartphone penetration, it's about 18% as we speak in the country. Entire country is smartphone penetration. All of us may be having smartphones here, but in the entire country as a whole, it's about 18%. Internet penetration in the rural areas, as per the TRAI and DT data, it's about 10 to 12%. But that includes pathetic 2G as well. So when we did a survey through the Kisan call centers, which is a universal number for the farmers, we found that only about 6.83% farmers had access to internet either through a smartphone or through a PC at home. What I'm talking about is basics. I mean, it may sound slightly odd that I'm talking about simple, harsh facts, but these are the facts that stayed in our face. When we have such kind of limited access to internet, we have to variegate and expand the modes of delivery. We had this Common Service Center project, and I do not know, I'm sure there are people from different states here. They can try and visit during their tea time or sometime, their own Common Service Center portal, and try and see how many government to citizen services are there, G2C. Most of these are surviving on business to citizen, B2C. The money is coming from there. Whereas the original idea was government to citizen services. If that is the case, is it really very difficult to integrate? Answer is no. And since most of you are, I think, policy decision makers, I can tell you very, very frankly, tell your NIC, tell your software developer or whatever agency, in UP maybe it's Uptron or some other agency, my request to all of you is to push your software development team integrating these government to citizen services which are currently existing in silos into your Common Service Center uniform interface is one service a day kind of a job. One service a day. That's possible. I joined Himachal and I think it was about 5 services, and I think in about 1.5 months we have integrated about 51 services. And I think by the end of this year we'll have 101 services. And these are the services which everyone needs. Very, very simple things. Parivar register, land records, death and birth register, death and birth registration. You have road transport booking, and other simple things. The issue then remains is, how do we do all this? I mean, wish I could show it live. Anyway, let's let the dongle come, and I hope I have time. What I'm talking about is the citizen center, common service center operator. In most states, when you visit these, their biggest grouse is that we have to have multiple logins. So, simple thing, the mantra is web service. Take that mantra, remember that simple jargon, tell this guy, I want integration of web services. Come what may, you do it. And I want, okay, not once in every day, once in 2 days, web service to be integrated into Lokmitra Kendra, or whatever public web portal you have. So what I'm saying is, while the database in the back end remains on the, behind a portal, delivery thereof, first is of course is common service center. Then we come to USSD. How many of you have heard about unstructured supplementary service data? Anybody who has heard about it? Deafening silence. One person out of the crowd, such a huge crowd. And that's what I want to demonstrate live. USSD, there's nothing recondite. There's nothing grandiose about it. It's a basic concept which was introduced along with mobile telephony. When Airtel had its first mobile telephone in India in 1998, they had USSD. USSD is nothing but interactive messaging. Some of you would have paid your Airtel mobile bills or some other mobile bills through dialing number *121#, and then it'll give you a menu. And then you put the amount and put your code and so on and so forth. So if we can do it for business to citizen, then why not about government to citizen? So USSD works without internet. It works on simplest of telephones. And trust me, as I said from the data, 90% plus rural people still have only basic phones, which are worth rupees 800,000 to 1,200 rupees. We have to take them together if we have to proceed further, if we have to bridge this digital divide as the government keeps talking about. Bridging the digital divide cannot take place without these 90% people. So USSD, how it happens? Again, there's, you have to dial a particular number. So in this case, *491#, then you get the menu, health, agriculture, and social welfare. Select agriculture. It will ask for languages, and then you've got menu of languages, 12 languages, because the database options come in respective languages. And it looks so hollow when I'm talking about all this, can't be able to show it. Anyway, so in that it will ask you agriculture insurance, it will ask you about farmer friend, it will ask you about demonstration plots, fertilizer availability, about extension workers visit, so whatever the farmer needs. So the whole idea is, whatever building blocks you had by way of integrated portal for delivery of services, in this case I talked about farmer.gov.in, right? You have, one by one, you build those elements into USSD. So in that option, after you dial, after you get a particular language, when the number of services comes, you need to simply choose that. It will give you further option. So for example, insurance, it will say what crop. So you may all be surprised, it's a bada jhamele wala kaam hai yaar, ye to pange wala kaam hai, kahan 1 2 3 4 karte rahenge. And I challenge the entire hall here. You sit on the web portal of that service, I sit on USSD. USSD is faster. And I'll tell you why. Because the farmer who registers in the mkisan.gov.in, that's the biggest M-governance initiative in the world, with about 1,100 crore messages having been sent to the farmers, and about couple of crore farm families being registered. mkisan.gov.in, that you can see at your leisure. Now, what happens is that when the farmer registers there, the farmer gives the district, block, village, etc., and also gives the crops he or she is growing, or the animal husbandry or fishery practice the person is actually working on. So that is there in the database already from mkisan. So for those couple of crore farmers, moment he dials *491# or *491*103#, the database, that is where he resides, where he comes from, the block etc. is pre-selected from the link to the mobile number. And also, similarly, the crops. So the menu gets shortened. So in a normal thing, if you have to go to insurance portal, you have to say agri-insurance.gov.in, and then after that you have to select the state, then you have to select the district, then you have to select the block, then go to the crop type, because there are hundreds of types of crops. So you'll have to select first the cereals, then from cereals you have to select maize or whatever. Cereals you have to select paddy or something. So this works much, much faster. I don't know whether the internet is on or not. What I'll do is they're still struggling, still trying to get this right. So whatever I've said so far, are there any questions? Because I think seeing is believing. Probably what I'm saying is not will not cut eyes till the time you actually see it. Or maybe what I can do is, if this is this linked to excuse me, connected? Is connected now? So, but then this will have to connect. This is HDMI port or not? Is the HDMI port in this or not? In this one. I'll let him try and set it right. All right, I think just at the right time they have told me, Deputy CM is on the way, and he'll be here in 2-3 minutes. One of the best tenders NIC has done. 5 rupees, unlimited number of transactions for a farmer. The problem that is taking place nowadays, it is not a subscription based. So a government has to actually subscribe to a farmer or to a citizen from its own resources. So that is one of the challenges. That's why it hasn't been able to take roots firmly. Otherwise, farmers would be themselves willing to spend. 5 rupees a month is nothing. It's a pittance. Okay. Any other issue on these web service thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Can you please?
For avail.
You are from?
Roshan Sunkaria, Principal Secretary, Labour Government of India. Now, to avail the kind of services which you are enumerating, 2 things are necessary. One is the connectivity, especially the rural areas.
Yeah.
And second is the technical capability to access the kind of services you provide.
To access them?
To access the services you provide. Now, in a hall like this, in the heart of a city like Chandigarh, in the galaxy of all the literate people and with all kind of capabilities, we are able to connect to the.
That's the point I'm making.
Now, so my point is, you cannot have these kind of services in a place. You can never, maybe in the next 30, 40 years. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm realistic. Next 30, 40 years, probably you can't have these kind of services. What do you have in Chandigarh? Even now. Even then, even if you have these kind of facilities, probably you will not be able to access the services. So why do have this kind of complicated, system which is inaccessible and which presupposes so many things which are difficult to do? I mean, okay, Digital India is a good mission and we should carry on. But right now, how to make use of these services in the rural areas? What would be the other way of accessing those services? Okay. That should need to be thought about.
My answer is just one phrase. It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And what I have told you just now, USSD and pull SMS is the way forward for at least next 7-8 years. Punjab has done very well in NOFN, but look at the nation as a whole. The National Optical Fiber Network, it will take some time to stabilize, right? So we have to keep improvising. I'm saying that USSD, which works without internet, and let's understand one thing. Today, the number of mobile telephones in rural areas is about 43.8 crores as per the latest TRAI statistics. And we have about 9.63 farm families, 9.63 crore farm families, and about 3 crore other farm families. So about 12, 13. So about 3 mobile phones are there in every household. But none of these, most of these are not connected to internet. And hence I talked about USSD and pull SMS or call center services or IVRS. As far as connectivity is concerned, it's now become fashionable for all of us to wait for NOFN. Punjab has done well, I believe. Kerala has done very well. Maybe you'll be on the info highway in the next maybe 2-3 years. Other states, we are all doing swans, state-wide air network, we are all doing together. I did a small trick in Himachal. I smuggled in the concept of a wireless hub at the block level. I made, if you want to get anything approved in Government of India, you made your DPR very fat. Nobody reached it. So there I got a smuggled concept of wireless hub, and it was only 4.63 crores for about 131 points of presence. And then you connect the panchayats wirelessly through a simple device which is a wireless receiver in a 2.4 gigahertz or 4.8, whichever are the free networks. Connect those, that is the way to start reaching out to the internet. But till the time internet is not there, you have to rely on USSD, IVRS, pull SMS. So for instance, a farmer, we have I'll illustrate these things. For instance, in the farmer's portal, you have something called, he's come. Okay. Dr. Pramod, it seems that the entire situation has been created to underline the point which I had been making in the morning. We are sitting at the heart of Chandigarh, the hub of technology, with all technological giants supporting the events, and we are not able to connect to internet. And this is a reality which the villagers have to face every single day of their life. The entire hotel staff has tried, the entire organizers have tried, then we are not able to connect to internet. I wanted to drive home the point which I made in the morning about USSD, and I think they are still not connected. I think so. I think that I've done in the morning itself. I don't think I'll waste any more time, and I think I'll leave it at that and leave my colleague Purnima here. All right, it is there now, finally. Okay, then I think I'll just show a screen out of sheer desperation and frustration. And, okay, here it is. I'll show just 3 screens. Kya hua? Okay, there it is. All right. I had said star 491 hash, then you can choose option 3. Agriculture and 3, then you reach agriculture, and agriculture choose languages, then you choose, let's say, agriculture insurance. So I've skipped those steps. Now it comes to the step for the farmer on the screen, Bime ki kisht. So the farmer chooses option 1. And then chooses the crop. These are coming from the database of the farmer. This is coming from the database of the farmer. That farmer is actually growing maize, dhan and bajra. And chooses option 2, then chooses the loan amount. And if it is a non-loany, then 0 amount. Then the sum insured. Then the area. And then the insurance calculation, which is often concealed in a state, the insurance notification calculations are running in pages of maybe some 5,000 to 6,000 printed pages minimum, and those calculations hidden in those. So from there it is calculating, and there comes on the mobile, without internet, without 3G, without 2G, on a simple phone also, you can get this. I wanted to actually give a contrast of getting the same information from the internet. Unfortunately, the internet is not working. So I can't really show the contrast, because I wanted to drive home the point that if a farmer has to get the same information on the internet, first he has to look for the place where the internet is available. And then after going there, the farmer has to ask the person, give all the details, 1, 2, 3, 4, mera district ye hai, block ye hai, gaon ye hai, and then what crops I am growing. All those combinations have to be selected before anything else can happen. Similarly, if suppose a farmer wants to know about fertilizer availability in the neighborhood. So these are the options that come after choosing agriculture. Let's say fertilizer sales. Then the next one, it says which fertilizer do you want? Urea, DAP, MOP, NPKs, SSP. Then it says generalized urea, NFL urea, He has to choose which urea he wants because these are the products available in the neighborhood. And then it says national fertilizer ka urea is available. Then availability details comes to you. This is without internet. This is the power of technology that I was talking about. For instance, this is a page which has been able to somehow crawl open to this page in the last 5 minutes I've been speaking. Now this page, like you can drill down from the block, from the state level to the district level to the block level, and then you can actually access at the block level. You can access different kinds of information. Like again, it's gone. No point. Absolutely pathetic. So I'm saying that this is what the farmers portal was. I was talking about integration of web services. So the more than 100 web services. The last thing which I want to talk about is integration of databases. Honorable Deputy Chief Minister talked eloquently about 206 services. The need is that each service should not require multiple visits to any other place. That is actually the motto of these common service centers. So let's think about a person who wants to apply for a welfare pension. What all does he need? Land records, caste, Parivar register, 3 things, 3 different people. So a person before goes to the common service center has to go to a patwari, to a panchayat secretary, or whoever maintains the caste certificate, goes to 3 different people, pays as much bribe required by the number of certificates. So I'm trying to underline that under this e-district and all, a lot of things have been happening, but these have been happening in silos. I wanted to show an interface which is there in my other laptop which is working. That laptop has all the data, but unfortunately is not connecting to the internet. So what I'm trying to say is Aadhaar, land records, Parivar register, then caste. Now, there's something in Punjab and Himachal, there's something common, and the person who actually did it, Mukesh Rally of NIC, is actually present here. Shajara Nasb, that is genealogical table, from that you extract caste. So there's no need of getting a caste certificate. If you're not an agriculturist, or you are son of an agriculturist, your name does not appear in the land record. Then you just get that land Parivar register copy. So I'm saying all these databases are online in Himachal. I was really keen to show it online. Unfortunately, no internet, and hence I'm totally incapacitated. You can all go to the e-district website of Himachal Pradesh and try and play around with that. And look for the thing that instead of a paper, the certificate comes from electronic databases. Land records, search for the name, land record comes from there. Parivar register, search for the member, comes from there. Caste certificate comes from the genealogical table. So everything is integrated. Farmer requires just his identity, walks into a CSC, and does not need to go to multiple offices. That is the point I was trying to underline. I'm very sorry I couldn't, I was really keen, actually I stopped over despite Vidhan Sabha session to show these things to the illustrious audience here. I couldn't do it. And I think the chair of the session, Dr. Pramod, has been fully vindicated. Putting an E before everything doesn't work. We put E as a small, we tried, but then unfortunately it seems that technology has become a Frankenstein. It's trying to eat away the core. That means the core is not happening. So my request is that governance part, like the integrations I talked about, I'm sure each one of you will be having applications in your different departments which can be integrated as databases, not as just a front end of issuing something on computer. Typing something on computer and getting a neat looking form, that is not good enough. One visit to a single point, no government official, everything from electronic databases, that has to be the mantra. Thank you.